So I just felt that it was right to play that tonight, especially since it's been a while since the Gators picked up the dub. Welcome into my two bits. This is First Bites. We are looking at the rapid reaction of our Florida Gators versus the Criminals of Florida State, where Mike Norvell is still your coach. Whatever. I am your host, Mr. Randy, along with my other host, Ben B. How you feeling tonight, my man?
Yeah, well, I'm feeling pretty good for the time being. We'll focus on how we're feeling tonight. We'll talk about other things on Monday. But for the moment, for now, feeling pretty darn good. Love hearing that one more time. Heard it plenty tonight, which is outstanding. Love hearing it again. Yeah, good things, good times, and yeah, I mean, at least we did fire our coach. We'll see who we hire, but at least we're not still stuck with the guy who can't win. Unlike our friends there up to the north, that are of course not our friends at all. That game was hilarious. Talk about a comedy of errors. I thought we like to shoot ourselves in the foot. My God,
Hey.
holy crap! That was absolutely laughable in every aspect. Last year's game was a complete joke. 8 fumbles, 5 lost. For them, obviously. This year,
Yeah.
they at least played semi-competent football. But man, talk about just blowing your entire foot off. Good grief. I mean, we love to do that to ourselves. We did it a couple of times, right? But my goodness, that was just absolutely atrocious. Every time they did something good, it felt like they had to undo it. Just unreal stuff, man. But yeah, let's get it going.
They did. That's why they swear by the philosophy. Anything you can do, we can do worse. Okay, great. Um,
Yes,
anyways,
indeed.
with first bites, yeah, with first bites, we're keeping it concise, nice and simple, like our regular show and our focus on factual analysis and all things Florida Gator football. Yes, folks, we are going to make it as accurate as we possibly can, unlike all this clickbait out there about the coaching search, citing our sources whenever we use them. All statistical data coming tonight from ESPN and the box score. Now, let's get into our opening point high level game summary. B, give it to me.
Yeah, pretty pretty one-sided for most of the night, except when we decided to let things get a little silly in the second quarter. And allow this game to be a lot closer than it should have been, is what I would say. Some very, unfortunately, poor decision making by DJ on that throw, that really allowed them to get back into this game when it should have been pretty much over. Overall, I think we played very well tonight, and I think we really did a great job of handling things as best as we have, considering our losses from injuries, because we were down more players tonight than I think we have been all season from a starter standpoint. We were missing a ton of guys, and or maybe just playing backups because we thought we could. I don't know, but we were missing a ton of dudes out there, and played one of our better football games. And I think the reason why is game plan, but we'll talk about that later. Overall, obviously, story of the game otherwise is just Jadan Baugh, man. Holy cow. I mean, we've talked about it all year. We've talked about it really for 2 years. If you've listened to this pod that long, this kid's been special for a long time. We actually called this out in the spring game, back when we watched it a couple of seasons ago, and he was absolutely fantastic in that game. And we said we weren't sure if you could really tell that from a spring game. Well, I guess you could. So there you go. What are your thoughts on tonight, man?
Yeah, so this is tough, right? Because I look at a couple things. B, we scored 40 points tonight.
Yep, yep, we sure
Last
did.
time we scored over 40 was LIU, and that was a tune-up game. That was the opening cupcake, right?
Yeah,
And it's funny because we went through the LIU game in the first half. Yeah, we were up, 28, 32, 34, whatever, 0 at halftime, but it didn't feel like we were up that much. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel crisp. You know about the sacks. We know about the tackles for loss. We know about different things that didn't feel quite right, especially from a team from Long Island. No disrespect to the Sharks. Go Sharks. Fins up, whatever. Um, but you
Whatever.
look, yeah, you look at the way that this season has progressed or regressed, and we look at the shortcomings with USF and everything that followed that, and the wins this year, few far between. This has to be, and for the record, I wanted this to be, especially when you look at rivalry game, senior night, a lot of things up in the air, a lot of deltas going on, a lot of uncertainty. Hence the embrace, the long embrace between Jaluk and Baugh at the end of the game. I thought that was very telling because they embraced for over a minute. It seemed like an hour. And I'm sure they were
Yeah.
both taking it all in. And so this is, you talk about, we want to talk about complementary football. This is how you play complementary football. And FSU, for them to lead so many statistical categories on offense for FBS, top 5 in yards, top 5 in scoring, top 5.
No,
Well,
they're not.
Tom,
No, they're not. They're not top 5 in scoring. They talked about that tonight. That was part of the thing. Their yardage is insane. Their scoring is not. I think they're top 5 yards, top 5 rushing, I think, but they're not top 5 in scoring because they can't score.
well, see, and that's the other thing too, because look at how much, look how many yardage, right? The Gus Bus is racked up. Gus
Yep.
Bus is racked up a crap ton of yards. Tommy Castellanos allegedly has the most yards per completion in the nation.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
15 point whatever, right? So you've
Mm-hmm.
got all these other unique elements of their game, of their team, and what they've been able to do. And in this game, yeah, Tommy passed for more than DJ. Okay, sure, big deal. Outside of that, they didn't outgain us in total yardage, and we definitely outgained them in yards per rushing yards. And then when you look at the turnover game, which we'll talk about more on Monday, and then the other thing too is the time of possession. These are some crucial things that we needed to do in other games this season.
Yes.
And the other
Yes.
thing that's tough about what happened in that second quarter, I felt like, and you might have felt this way, probably could have gone either way because we've had several games this year where it seemed like we didn't do well in close games. We just couldn't pull it out. We couldn't put our foot on their throats. We couldn't seal it the deal. We didn't have the killer instinct. We just didn't have those different elements. And for whatever reason, it all came together this game. And so, if anything, I can say, despite LIU, despite a couple of the other wins, right? Because we only have 4 total wins. This to me feels like the most complete game we've played this year from that perspective.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I think that's well said.
okay. And that's the thing, right? It's like, well, what do you consider a complete game? And again, just all facets. It just seemed like this is the way we needed to do it. And again, going out senior night in the swamp, changing of the guards again. So it just needed to happen. Needed Gator Nation needed something to end this season on a high note in some way, shape, or form, and they delivered. And namely, Baugh delivered. But anyways, key stats. B. What are your key stats for the game?
Yeah. So a couple we'll run through here. Obviously, the one that has to jump off the page is going to be Jadan Baugh, 38 carries. 38 carries, I'll repeat that one, for 266 yards. That's a 7 yard per carry average, only along a 22, though. So he did not drive up that average as we've seen, at times, right, with running backs where that can happen. And not that that's a bad thing, but this was a legit 7 yard a carry. He was getting 7 yards a carry. It didn't get, skewed by some huge 60 yard run in there. No, no, no. He was really getting about 7 yards a carry when you averaged it all out. And looked at what he was doing. Absolutely phenomenal night. A key stat that is not going to be in the stat sheet, a couple of them. We'll talk about this more on Monday for sure. Not only over 1,000 yards, over 1,100 yards, the most ever by an underclassman, the most ever by a running back against FSU in history, which is insane. The most ever since also the most ever by an underclassman. Sorry, I got sideways there. With under 200 carries to crack 1,000 since Emmitt Smith, which is rare air to say the least. So yeah, just really impressive stuff there. So I think those are pretty much all going to be my key stats, just really revolving around Baugh and the night he had. And we've made jokes on this pod many times about Ray Davis being still running from that game back in 2023 that we played against Kentucky. Well, guess what? Jadan Baugh just caught him. So we may not stop Ray from running, but Jadan Baugh just caught up to him and he's still running with him now. So good on you, Jadan. Heck of a game, man. Absolutely
Yes.
incredible game by that young man. I mean, he did everything. I mean, absolutely everything. I don't know that I've seen a better highlight reel tape to put on display. I mean, what did he not do in this game? Broke tackles, stiff arms, spin moves, cuts, pushing guys aside, bowling over safeties. I mean, power, speed, agility, athleticism, elusiveness. He had everything. And vision too, because he hit the hole so well and so many times. And when it wasn't there, bounced it outside. I mean, I could just go on and on. I'm sure we'll talk about this extensively on Monday night in terms of this performance, but just incredible. So yeah, my key stats all going to revolve around Jadan. I'll just leave it there. What do you got?
That is very, very fair. I will say this though, I did find one thing that Jadan did not do that I'm gonna have to take points away on. He did not hurdle anyone. So I'm taking
Oh, you're
away
right. You're right. He
I'm
has.
taking
He
away
has
five.
hurdled this season, but not this game. You're right. He didn't.
Yes.
He didn't.
Yes. So shame on you, Jadan Baugh, for not completing the Triple Crown and hurdling somebody. How dare you? You underachiever. No.
I think it would have had to have been the octuple crown, not the triple crown in this one. But yeah.
There you go. There you go. I like it. There's not a whole much to say, folks. Jadan Baugh, 38 carries, 266, 7 yards a carry. To put in the famous words of our co-host of First Take on ESPN, Harry Douglas, that boy bad. He real bad. The Gators had 26 first downs, their most first downs in a game for, I don't know, all the season. 6 for 13 on third downs, 2 for 2 fourth downs, 440 total yards. Folks, we have not cracked 400 yards, but one other time this year against LIU.
We didn't crack it against Texas?
You know what? I was going back. I was trying to think. Maybe it was 2 times this year, folks. But at the end of the day, let's just say the yards that we've cracked this year has not started with a 4 too often.
No, it has not, for sure. That is definitely sure. And it may not have. We may not have. We'd have to check, but we'll check that one for Monday.
We will. And that's the other thing too, as far as that goes. The rushing attempts, 45 rushing attempts. Yeah, on 68 plays. Phenomenal. Well done there. Way to manage the game. Good job, O'Hara, Callaway, Spurrier Jr., whoever you are. Good job. Well done. Great job too on especially with the flags. We know we had a couple of bad flags there that cost us some yardage. One could have been really, really bad, obviously with Caleb Banks and the missed field goal, but 5 penalties on 45 yards, and probably the biggest kicker is time of possession, 34 minutes, 42 seconds, absolutely dominated. The defense got rest. The defense looked fresh. Truby had a lot of injuries, it was great to see Shady Hayward in there. It was great to see Ben Hanks in there. Great to see some of these young guys. So phenomenal there. So there are the key stats. Let's look at impact play. B, can you name? I know we had a lot of great plays in this game. Can you name an impact play?
Yeah. So I can. Real quick though, 457 total yards against Texas. So just throwing that out there.
Thank you for looking that up. Awesome.
Yeah, I was able to find it real quick. So we did obviously crack. I think that was actually our high output of the whole season. I don't know what it was against LIU, but we'll figure that out later. Impact play. This is actually interesting. I think it's actually going to be, for me, I'm going to have to cheat a little bit here. I'm going to say the red zone touchdowns off play action. And it's because, and there were three of them, right? So
Yeah.
technically it's three, but they were all very similar plays, right? Two to the tight end, one to start event. Um, they're the impact plays because it's the impact of Baugh running the ball so well and so effectively, or us running the ball, but Baugh more specifically, right? And being able to call that play action when you got down, especially close in the red zone, and having it be so effective, right? So obviously they're impact plays because they went for touchdowns, but they wouldn't have worked so well and so easily if not for the running that we had throughout the game. So you can call it the effectiveness of the running game throughout, or you can call it, the play call to use play action at those times. But
Hmm.
we tried using play action a few other times in this game, not in the red zone, and it didn't work. Like they were, even though we called it, and it theoretically should have, guys were covered downfield. Shocker, because we're running one receiver, right? Same problem we always have. So the the but in the red zone, it's different because you're bottled up there. And if you can suck those linebackers in and get a one-on-one matchup, then they only have to win, just immediately right there, right? Or you get a tight end uncovered, which happened twice, right? Because the linebacker got sucked up on the play action and didn't cover the tight end, and then boom,
Hmm.
it's easy. So I think you can pick any one of those if you want to make it a single play, but I think really all three of those are your impact plays in this case. And I'm really not trying to cheat. I'm just trying to make it a point of those worked so well because of how we ran, and that's why they were able to be as impactful as they were. So not my typical answer there, because usually you want it to be something that was kind of game defining, but I think those were game defining because of how we game planned for this game. And I've got some more thoughts on that at the end, but go ahead.
Touche. I like it. I see what you did there. It's all good. I see why you did it. I
Yes,
think
sir.
for me, when I look at an impact play, it might be for me be an impact series. Okay. And what I mean by that is FSU's their seventh possession, third quarter. The tough thing about us coming out of the third quarter is the fact that we give up a 3-and-out as
Yeah.
soon as we come, and that's tough. Going into the
Which
half,
we have done how many times this year?
too many,
Too
too
many,
many,
way too many.
way too many. Clearly, ending the half, we didn't end it the best. It was not clean at all to start. So you figure, okay, great. We're coming out of halftime. We acknowledge out of a TV timeout, right? We take a timeout and all this other stuff going on. It's going to get cleaned up. Third quarter, we're going to come out with that same vigor, with that same passion that happened in the first quarter, right? So there's that. But I think for me, it had to have been Florida State's seventh possession with about 13 minutes to go on their own 20-yard line. We get a massive not really a 3-and-out, but it was probably 4 plays on that drive. And the interesting thing is, with about 11 minutes to go, this is where we start to mount that third quarter where we scored 14 unanswered. And that's where we take the game over because in the third quarter, they score nothing, and we
Yep.
scored 14 to put us up in a very big way. So I think for me, that's where I'm gonna go to is that specifically not just the impact play, but maybe the impact drive. Because the thing about that Florida State drive is we had a big stop. We could have had a big stop to prevent a 3-and-out, to hold them to a 3-and-out, but Castellanos got loose. I think it was one of those things where Jadan was spying him. He got caught up. Castellanos scrambled. First down. Okay, we got to do it over again. And finally, the second time on the second series, we were able to get him down, force a punt, and that's when Lagway came back and had that touchdown to Hansen. So big, crucial possession by the defense there to stop Florida State to basically say, no, we're going to take control of this game. Go away. Bye bye.
Yeah,
So
for
there's that.
sure. Yeah, I like
Um,
it.
yeah, so and B, I think this is going to be an easy one, but just like we
Yeah.
look at an impact play, we look at an impact player. I'm going to take a wild guess, but you might surprise me. I don't know. Who's your impact
I'm
player?
not gonna surprise you. If there is an impact player in this game that is not named Jadan Baugh, I don't think you were watching the same game I was, buddy. There is no question. Absolute dominance in this game, no question. Again, one thing I did not mention, by the way, one stat I left out earlier from the key stats that I meant to throw in the games that Jadan Baugh has over 100 yards this season, Florida's 4-0. In the games that Jadan Baugh has under 100 yards this season, Florida's 0-8. That is crazy, but true. And it will bring me to a point that I'll make at the end here, but I'm not going to make it right now. It's wild. That is absolutely wild. And it is, yeah. And obviously he had well over 100 tonight. So no question, Jadan Baugh, hands down, easy call.
I'll have to agree with you and say Jadan Baugh. Man, I tell you what, isn't the funny thing about Jadan Baugh, and I don't mean funny, haha, but the interesting thing is, if it was not for Billy Napier's brother, we would not have Jadan Baugh.
Yep.
That is wild to me.
I know. It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. As good a recruiter as he was, overall for Billy's sake, and he was pretty good, right? Certainly, at least in the talent he identified, if nothing else, didn't always get it, but at least in what he identified. And it's wild that it took his brother to find him. Like, how does that happen?
Just coaching in South Georgia, just going up against this team, and hey, bro, you might want to take a look at this kid again here and get him in orange and blue and get him out of whatever else he's going into. So
Arkansas, he was going to go to Arkansas. We flipped him on signing day, 2023 or 2024 from Arkansas.
Wow. No more pig suey or whatever they say over there. Just chomp.
That's right.
Chomp.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Now we just got to keep him. We just got to keep him.
Which is going to be a tall task, I'm afraid, but we'll see what happens.
We shall. And that's the other thing, too. I love the fact that when he runs the ball, literally and figuratively, he's a wrecking ball. I love the fact that he gets up, he signals, surfs up, dude, and he's done. That's it.
Yep.
He's not one for the theatrics. Nope. Just blue collar, hard work, hard running, great with the jump cut, so elusive and agile. You'd think he's about 30 pounds lighter, but he's not.
But he's not. Exactly.
And just everything about him from a demeanor standpoint, from an attitude standpoint, cannot say enough about the kid. All right, B, wrap us up. Where do we go from here? What's going on else? And what do you got to close us out?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it about the game. We're going to save all the coaching talk for later because obviously there's been developments, to say the least, that we're not going to get into right now. But what I want to say is this. I think this staff finally figured out their identity as an offensive play calling group last week in the second half against Tennessee. You may have noticed we came out and we just started running Jadan Baugh like every play, right? When Tennessee was dominating us, we were down 31. We just started running with Jadan like every play. And we gave him a ton of carries in the second half. He almost got to 100. He almost messed that stat up, right, with him being over 100, but he didn't quite make it. And it held true. And that's exactly what we started doing tonight and kept doing the entire game. I was worried. I thought they were only doing it to get him to 1,000. I thought last week it was about getting him to 1,000, and that's why we did it in the second half. And that the first half tonight, that's all it was about. Because this staff has not shown a propensity at all, really, even before Napier was gone or after, right, to really give him the carries that we felt like we should have, right? There were a couple of games where he got the carries we felt like he should have, but for the most part, we were like, why does this kid not get the ball more? Like we've said it so many times. And it just never made any sense. Well, I think after seeing us continue to do that into the second half, even after he had the 1K hit, it became clear to me, okay, this was just the game plan. It had nothing to do with the 1,000, maybe not nothing, but that wasn't the primary objective. This was the game plan. We just wanted to run the ball or run the ball, right, all night. That was the game plan. And then let it set up play action. Because if you notice, Florida State came out in what? Bunch of 6-man boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Then it started to be 7-man boxes. Then it started to be 8-man boxes. Then it started to be 9-man boxes. And we still ran it effectively, which is wild, by the way. That's actually bonkers that we were still getting 6-7 yards a clip into 9-man boxes, but we were. That is credit to the offensive line. I will give credit to the O-line here.
Yes.
They run blocked like crazy tonight. And credit, of course, to Jadan Baugh. Phenomenal game for him. Obviously, ran a ton of Wildcat, which I loved. They could not stop that, by the way, which is bonkers. We have not been overly successful when we run that. They couldn't stop it at all. It's funny. I love it. I love beating up on FSU, and especially in the run game. It's great. Absolutely phenomenal. But overall, I just love that this staff found their identity. I'm sorry it came in the second half of the next to last game. I wish they could have figured that out, against Georgia when they took over. But it is what it is. Sometimes it takes time, right? This stuff is a process sometimes, quote Billy there. Right? And it really is. That is true, right? But I think they finally figured it out. And you know what? They were right. And what sucks is about all this is go back to LIU, go back to USF. What if we were doing this all season? Because don't tell me this team couldn't have done this. And I'm not saying 45 carries or 38 carries or whatever the heck he was 38, what he ended up with tonight. I'm not saying 38 carries every week. That would be a little nutty. Yeah. But what if we were doing, 28 to 30 carries a week for him, pushing him over the 100-yard mark on a regular basis, week in, week out, having games where he's closer to 200. His body can support it. The dude is a workhorse, right? Now, I'm not saying you don't, take a little more out of him doing that. I know there's injury risk and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that's what this offense was supposed to be predicated on with Napier anyway. I saw a stat last week that we were like 68% pass coming into this game for the season. Almost 70% of our play calling was passes. What? Now, I know we were down in some games and stuff, and in a fair amount of games. I'm sure that drove some of that. But, what are we talking about here? 70%? What the hell? That's not this team's identity. It never has been. And you think back and you look at, we've been doing that all year long. It has been like upside down world. It's been okay, DJ didn't get the reps, so we got to throw it more in games. It's been nonsensical, to be honest with you. And I think that's actually been a huge part of the problem this entire season, looking back. We'll cover this more. I'll talk about it more often. But I actually think this staff finally figured out, hey, we should probably just run the ball a lot. And you know what? Yeah, that would have been a good idea all year. But hindsight's 2020, and we all know that. So anyway, moving on. Those are my closing thoughts. It was nice to see. It was very nice to see. What a very enjoyable win. Always love beating FSU, but especially love to trounce them and set records. Set a sack record last year, set a rushing record this year. What record can we set next year? I don't know, but I hope we do it. Another one. Love it. What do you got? Close us out.
Yeah, I like it. To that end, the best part about this game is the fact that it is a rivalry game. And when you win a rivalry game like this, not just down to the wire, right,
Yep.
play for play, but when you win it convincingly going away at the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth, and all the wind is out of their sail, phenomenal. Tommy Castellanos, transferred from BC. I get it. All season, he is a hype guy. He is a talk guy. It was interesting that on that first touchdown, he was going to do the Gator Chomp. He paused it. He went to the sideline while there was the kerfuffle. But I tell you what, I have never wanted to see a quarterback more on his rear end than Tommy tonight. And I'm glad that uniform was nice and dirty. Very glad.
Yes, sir.
We got to him. We were effective. And going back to the point I made earlier, complementary football. When you have a time of possession close to 35 minutes,
yep.
Phenomenal. How do you do that? You control the ball. How do you do that? You control the clock. Well, how do you do that? You run the football. It's funny, B. On my notes here, I have phenomenal game plan and execution in sticking to it. It's one of those things that we know this staff, pre-Napier, post-Napier, they've 100%. But they came in and said, you know what? We're at home. It's the swamp. Last game, senior night. Got to go out on top. Jadan Baugh is the workhorse that we thought he was. We're not going to put the ball in Lagway's hands. He's not ready for it. There's too much going on. He's still having processing issues. He's having whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter.
Well, and
We need
apparently it was a
someone.
game time decision to play. I heard. What? I didn't know he got hurt again. I don't know.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah,
But here's
apparently.
the thing. This guy is tried and true. You know what? In all of the other synonyms we've used for him, the other one I'll use for him is glue, because he has definitely held a lot of things together this year for this squad. Clearly, if we are 4-0 when he touches 100 yards rushing the
Yep,
football. So
that is a fact.
phenomenal there. Cannot say enough about the kid. I hope. I'll leave it with this. I hope we retain as many pieces as possible. And my last thing is, so happy that Caleb Banks played in this game and he
Yes.
talked that talk and he taunted that O line for FSU
Yeah, he
all
did.
night.
He did.
All
I
night.
love that. I
Love that.
love
Love
that
that
too.
about Caleb. So, anyways, phenomenal way to at least end the season on a 4-8, a ridiculous record dating back to 2013 and that Muschamp year. But regardless of the fact, always good to go out on a win against a rival like Florida State. B.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well said. Well said. With that, we will wrap this up. Please feel free to join us on Monday night when we'll break down full game analysis here, get into a bunch more details about this win, as well as whatever else is going on Monday night, which there could be a lot of things. We will
Could be.
potentially have more news tomorrow. Possibly, we don't know, but the rumor is that we may get some announcements tomorrow. So we'll see. Who knows with all these rumors? But anyway, but it's possible we find out some coaching news tomorrow. We'll see. But regardless, we will talk about it all on Monday. If you've
Yes.
liked the content, please thumb up, like it on whatever platform you're listening to. If you want to hear more, please hit subscribe. But for now, wherever you are, whenever you may be listening, thanks for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.